Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on part 1 of a currently unfolding mini-series event called The Night Manager. This was actually something that I was given the heads up on by my good friend Dana over on Facebook, who has never stirred me wrong with recommendations. So I went into this blind, not knowing a thing about it. I had actually stumbled into a couple of posts over on Facebook about it, talking about Tom Hiddleston was starring and Hugh, Laurie, and knew nothing beyond that. That these two tour de force level actors were going to be in it. And I had no idea what this was going to be about. And the thing it leaves me with by the end of it, after watching the first part of this miniseries, is just raw intensity and goosebumps and emotion. As, portrayed in the character of Tom Hiddleston's character, who is basically, as the title suggests, the night manager of this sort of posh, very elegant hotel in Cairo, I believe it is, at the start of the piece. And you have Hugh Laurie, who is kind of like the figurehead of, I assume, what is a business conglomerate kind of thing, a very big time mover and shaker in money. And you think of guys like Trump or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, who are these very well-known personalities, and they come across as humanitarian and all this kind of stuff, but there's dirty dealings going on behind the scenes. In the case of this piece, does Tom Hiddleston's character get involved with a woman who is the mistress of this powerful family in Cairo, who is, wheeling and dealing with Hugh Laurie's character, this Richard Roper? And I'm like, the movie guy? No, very much not. But in any case, she slips documents to Hiddleston's character, and he leaks them to a friend who is portrayed by Russell Tovey, who, anyone who is familiar with the series Sherlock or Doctor Who might be familiar with him, who has ties to, the intelligence sort of backdrop of, the UK, the United Kingdom, England, everything like that. And so they are trying to bring awareness to this dirty dealing that's going on, because what is currently unfolding at the start of this piece is kind of a revolution. The powerful despot is forced to step down, and people are celebrating in the streets, but the arms that are being snuck in behind the scenes are potentially going to quell and just take down that opposition and put in whatever regime they want to put in, something more befitting of the moving and shaking of the money and everything behind the scenes. And so, Hiddleston has this sort of duty of care that he's got to protect this woman. He ends up having a relationship with her, and unfortunately, try as he might, he cannot prevent her murder. As a result of this information having been slipped out and his going to the people he goes to, and somebody on the inside tipping the hat to Hugh Laurie's character so that this deal never materializes, they backpedal on it, and this woman is snuffed out. And cut to at least what the dialogue suggests is 2 years later, we have Hiddleston's character being the night manager of sort of a stemming off of this hotel. I don't know if it's actually the same branch or not, but it's in Switzerland now. And here is Hugh Laurie's character, Mr. Roper, coming for some behind-the-scenes machinations, wheeling and dealing stuff. And that duty of care resurfaces in Hiddleston's character in the fact that he wants retribution. And it's just the right thing to do, because so many lives are potentially at risk. With this kind of, napalm, tanks, machine gun weaponry, explosive, grenades, all that kind of stuff, that is potentially being bartered and sold. And the deals are, the wheels of the deals are in motion. And so he gets back in contact with this particular intelligence operative, portrayed by Olivia Colman, who is very much passionate about taking Roper down, exposing his dirty wheeling and dealing, and, all that kind of stuff. And there is that sense of, as British citizens, because Hugh Laurie's character is also a Brit, they have this duty of care to see justice done, to see this prevented, to see this quelled, even if it means working from the inside out. And it very much leaves off with this just raw intensity. Every time Hiddleston and Laurie are in the same scene, it's like Hiddleston manages to embody this level of fear and anxiety, as well as the game face of his night manager position, that he has to be, very subservient to the paying customer and all that kind of stuff. And this comes after the raw emotion of his dealing with, he basically blames himself for the death of this woman that had given him the documents to begin with, and how all of that just went completely kaput right in front of him, and this woman was brutally murdered. And to top it all off, it's covered up. You know, basically, when you have the police coming in after she has been killed, the effect is, well, we know she's tied to this family, this sort of a very, profoundly powerful family in Cairo. It was a burglar who did it. Trust me, it was a burglar who did it. And if you press anything further, maybe you did it, to Hiddleston's character, that kind of thing. And it's just, man, Tom Hiddleston in this, like at first, he is very much in the character of this night manager, and I'm going in blind. I'm like, what is the deal here? What's going to be happening here? I was surprised by his turn of performance in the relationship that he has with this woman. I was completely brought to boil, a mixture of being angry and feeling utmost just, almost depression in his seeing this woman murdered for the information she leaked to him, and he subsequently leaked out to the world, trying to do right by all of this. And then that much further is it intense as he is brought face to face with the very man who is the one who put all this into motion. And there is that constant trepidation, like, with the way Laurie's character, he's very much a dick. He's kind of like Gordon Gekko. If you're familiar with that character, I highly recommend you check out Wall Street, if not. But he has this very dickish way of being. He kind of like, toys with people, and he says things that he's trying to get reactions from people. And of course, Hiddleston is this very subservient night manager guy in this posh hotel. He cannot react. And so there is that tension, because Laurie has moments where he's like looking longingly at Hiddleston. He's like, kind of asking him where you've been before. Like maybe he recognizes him, although they've never met as far as I understand. And there's a little bit of a reluctance on Hiddleston's part to say, this is where I was first and this is where I was after that. And, so there is some understanding that, well, the tides have brought them together in near misses before. Is more going to come out of that or not? Is Laurie eventually going to figure out who Hiddleston is to him or not? It remains to be seen. And I get the vibe because, of course, this all ends with this intelligence operative woman basically challenging Hiddleston's character and saying, what are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? Because at that point, she has come out to see him, and he's snuck around and gotten some more information. I think like memory cards, with potential information on them that Laurie was trying to get rid of in the garbage. And Hiddleston has snuck around at this point, gathering all of that stuff. And when he hands it off to this investigator woman, he's basically like, this is for you. I'm done with it. I don't want any part of it. Take him down. Do what you got to do. But it's very much, she calls him on it. You were there when this woman died. We all were responsible for how bad that turned out. What are you willing to do? Are you going to step up? And it's like, oh my God. It's just crazy. Intensity. The performances, much as I say, Hiddleston and Laurie are these tour de force actors. And there's none of that lost on the performances in this piece. And it's astounding. I mean, I'm only really familiar with Tom Hiddleston through his portrayal of Loki in the Avengers films and spin-offs, Marvel films, and everything like that. So to see him in this role, it's just magnificent. And with Hugh Laurie, I've only watched a little of House, which he hails from. But already on display in that particular series, do you see what a performer he is? And I've seen some of his comedic bits and stuff, precursor to that. And so it's like, it never fails to astound me with guys like both of these men. These actors, they're playing sort of movers and shakers within the confines of the miniseries The Night Manager, and they are very much movers and shakers in the acting artistic medium, as far as I'm concerned. And those other performances in here, Olivia Colman, Russell Tovey, and others, who are involved with this, it's just really well put together. And I'm really highly curious to see how this is going to unfold. What requirements on Hiddleston's character's part are going to have to be taken into, consideration? Is he going to try to get inside and earn the trust of Laurie in order to take him down, a la a Donnie Brasco or something like that? It's just got so many great shades of things you've seen before, but it's also a unique story. and it's coming at it from this vein of just very heartening characterization on the part of performers like Hiddleston. So it's just, man, I'm really desperately curious to see how this is going to play out. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've seen episode 1, part 1 of this miniseries event, The Night Manager, if you were just as flabbergasted by it as I was, if you had any foreknowledge going in. I know it's based on a novel, I believe, and, you know, if you were familiar with that piece, or if this is something all completely new to you. If you haven't even heard of it, are you going to be checking it out based on this recommendation? Let me know what you thought of it in the comments. And so, yeah, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Can't wait to see how this continues. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.